Did you see there?
It's not listening, huh?
Unless she's trying to rejoin. No.
Well, good afternoon. It is 4:33, and I'd like to call the February 2nd meeting of the Childcare Initiative Committee meeting to order. The only thing on the agenda is business items. So can you give us an update, Steve?
Yeah, it's our childcare planning update. And as you all know, we kind of started this document just to keep us organized and along the way. Pretty much everything you see in blue, we've reviewed, and it's kind of settled for now on that. We may come back to some of those, but a lot of them where you see check marks, like the community needs survey, that was done well. And some of these, you know, they go back a year and a half, 2 years, which it's hard to believe, but it's just been slow going. So in phase one, you can see there a lot of check marks. We're in pretty good shape. Building the team. Let me just talk a little bit about ARC, Jefferson, St. Lawrence County. We are working on our grant application, and with that, to strengthen our next grant application, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, we'd like to reach out to ARC and kind of propose some idea or things in a letter that are make stronger, that show their commitment to the project. I know that was one of our weaker, other than just the memorandum of understanding that we had. We feel now probably we should have something a little more definitive, but we're going to work with ARC on that. And everybody knows Lynn Piotrowski, and we're going to reach out to her on that. So when you see the building the team there, you see the ARC portion of that. And then it's kind of all answered in that. So then when we roll over to phase three, facility design, we have a rough, and you've all seen that kind of the rough idea of what the child care facility looked like. It's very rough, but I believe we've got a floor plan on that kind of meets the needs that ARC recommended for the type of programs that we've talked about. But we haven't gotten to the actual picking a consultant or anything like that. But we did, for our applications, we wanted people to have a rough idea of what we were planning. So we have picked the I don't know, let's see if that's in here though, but we do know where we want to locate it. So I think that's in here later. And you can see March of 2024. That's really what's driving all of this is finance, and I'll get to where we are with that. So, but I've kind of updated those at the top, and you can see through phase 1 and 2 it's kind of completed. But since where did I jump? Wait, I jumped on. I'm sorry. There's still part of. I jumped to phase 3, and really there was a number of items still on phase 2. That's what. So the next one on phase 2 is phase 2, item 3, the financing. As you know, the CFA was reviewed and scored at Regional Council last August, and we were not awarded. That was our second grant application, but currently with our consultant and Anthony and I are working on review and also strengthening our next application. We're in that process right now. And with that, we can add to that, and I'll talk about, in end of December, we were awarded the $2.1 million in federal funding. And that came from the 2 senators, and it was funding for the Child Care Center, and it was included in the final omnibus bill. And specifically, it was from $2.1 million from the USDA Rural Communities Facilities program. So we've now we've now secured 2.1 million of our 4.7, and we are currently working on an application for $954,000 from the ESD, which is roughly 20% of that's the most we can ask for of the project. So that our next step is to submit that again, a much stronger application. We have reviewed that in detail with ESD, and they've made some pointers of things that they needed more answers to. So part of that funding source, and this is where we're going to put in 3.5 acres of Commerce Park campus property, which would be ours to commit to that. And then the other part, and when we're going to need to go out and look for other sources of funding, but loans may be something that we may need to finish the financing. But until everything's settled there, we're not going that, in that direction yet. So in item phase 2, number 5, securing a site, we have selected, and we believe that the site we selected is appropriate, the Commerce Park site. And you see building permits, certificate of occupancy, all of those things are within in-house, the things that we can control. Then there'd be a site evaluation when construction comes around. So I've already talked a little bit about facility design in phase 3, and we've developed, like I said, we've developed a preliminary design of and floor plan, but that will change once we bring in architect engineering firm on board. And you see in there March 24th would be kind of where we hope to be roughly in a year there. Then in phase 4, you see the construction that's been moved up to fall of 2024, and the current estimated timeline is 18 months, and that's funding dependent. But I've crossed out and changed where we thought we would be, and then where we would be, where we hope to be if we can get the funding in place. And then phase 5 just talks about ongoing facilities maintenance and repair, and that'll be something we'll have to talk about and understand with ARC of Jefferson and St. Lawrence County. You've all had a chance to look at this. Have you got some questions on different parts of that I can help out on, or any comments?
Thank you for the updates. And I know that when we first started this project, or thinking about this project, we really felt like time was of the essence because of the fact that we are a childcare desert and they're not affordable, safe options for families to rely on for childcare so that they can enter back into the workforce, which forces many people to stay home, which was shuttering businesses for lack of employees. And so I know we really wanted to kind of hit the ground running and get this moving quickly. But sometimes I think things happen for reasons. As I work in a school district that's going through a capital project right now, and the exorbitant costs associated with any kind of building right now, supply chain issues. I really think that this project being pushed out and the construction phase being in 2024 will allow us an opportunity to see pricing go down as far as the construction world goes, which of course will, sticking with that budget would allow just a little bit more, I guess, of a cushion through that building process. One question I have, so thank you, and I'm thankful for that, actually. One question I do have in the grant application and something to make it stronger, are we kind of at the point, we've signed the MOA with the ARC, is that should we kind of have, or should they, not we, because we're the facility manager, but should we be asking them to create an initial business plan that would also include, this being 2023, and let's say it's 15 months away from 18 months from, starting the construction, it's really 2025, like a recruitment and retention process for their employees, because we can build the facility and we can have the people lined up that want to be there, but if they don't have as part of their business plan the staffing, then they won't be able to open their doors anyway. So I'm just wondering if a business plan and a concrete plan for recruitment and retention of the staff that'll run the facility would be helpful in an application, a grant application.
Nicole, that's a great point, and I don't want to speak for ARC right now, but I will approach them first of all with for the support letter for the current grant application, and in that we put a few more details that they've mentioned, and we figured that would help, and then we could reach out and kind of address that. And I'm sure I do believe Lynn Piotrowski has talked a little bit about that, not as detailed as what you were saying, but in general, she was aware of that. And if I recall, we did ask, I think she said that she could employ somewhere between 50 and 65 people. And I believe the question was asked that, would you think that, and then we were right in the middle of COVID there, and we were wondering about that. She seemed to think that with the people she had at the time, and of course things have changed quite a bit, but you're right that we need to see if that doesn't become an issue to opening that up, that lack of qualified people to run it may become an issue. We plan on reaching out to her soon, and like I said about the letter and all of that, but I don't want to, and she's always been very good about giving more detail when we ask. And maybe, I know getting the grant, the 2.1 has really, really helped us with our future grant application with ESD. And also, I think it shows ARC that things are happening, and that, we're roughly halfway there. And I'm sure they've been in that boat before themselves, waiting for funding. So I will talk to her directly about your concerns, Nicole. I think that's a very good point.
Thank you. I guess I just think, if it got down to two final applicants, one that's got a concrete business plan that's really build and open ready, I would be more likely to invest in myself. So it just seems that it might score more points.
Well, Nicole, that makes sense. Depending upon what type of employee they're looking for, it would be nice if there's lead time where, let's say we need somebody with a particular degree or experience, and to reach out and see if those people are available, and or at least have the public know what may be coming, so they could maybe consider working for them. It wouldn't hurt even a year out from an opening to know exactly that a workforce that's available for that particular type of business is ready to go. What I'm wondering about when I look at this, and Steve, correct me, we have the 2.1 million that was part of the funding on the national level. And in here it says our congresswoman submitted a request. Do you know where that is?
It was in support of that.
Okay.
Yes.
So it wasn't actually.
Congresswoman Stefanik was part of that too. I'm sorry if I left that out, but I think it's in the notes.
Okay.
Too.
We thank her for that. Obviously, that all worked out. Even with the 954,000 that I'm sure finally we should receive in this year's CFA grant, that is additional funding that obviously we have to go out and obtain. We need to look at possible sources and have that in place sooner than later, so we can meet the new schedule that you've come up with.
Yeah, and I have to revisit our estimate in that it was done by an outside firm, and sometimes they don't know everything about us, and they might have included land purchase and some infrastructure. Kind of, I'm hoping they did, not knowing that, we don't have to buy property, and there's certain things we can locate that in a utility corridor that shortens a lot of that, so that, the 4.7 in this day and age might be just the right amount, or maybe it comes down a little bit because of what we've contributed. Maybe, what would you say, 250, 300,000 maybe for
that kind of acreage.
So, I guess I'm kind of looking on the bright side of that, but I'll have to relook at that estimate, because when I look at that, I know a lot of times consultants and people want to be totally, they want to touch everything. So I want to see if maybe they misunderstood that or whatever, but that's, kind of what we're bringing to that right now, that we do have the location and some of the infrastructure in place.
My question, just to clarify on the grants, it's OBPA applying for the grants with ARC and support, or ARC is applying?
No, it's us.
It's us applying.
What you said first, yeah.
I'm wondering if that's where the confusion is coming, because they're wondering what OBPA is
That
doing
was,
with childcare and why it's.
and that's
what we're
why we
doing.
met with ESD and basically went through all of the application. And at the time when we went through that, it was right after we were awarded the 2.1. So that wasn't in the last application. And that said a lot about our commitment and also others' commitment to it, that certainly will help in our next, in the next round of grants.
Well, in the State of the State, Governor Hochul mentioned, extreme enthusiasm for childcare, especially in childcare deserts, which we are. Has there been any work or support from our assemblyman or senator, state senator?
Our assemblyman is aware of our issues. We haven't had any contact with the senator or state senator, but we have reached out to various development and kind of stated they've asked about it and kind of what we're doing. So I don't, not in the terms of looking for more funding, but making them aware of it. They have weighed in on support with support letters on different things that we've done. So we've kind of updated those people on that. We will probably have to get creative in looking in other places for grant opportunities and or funding resources on our own that we can bring to bear, and maybe working with ARC, there might be something that they can point us to.
Yeah, Tony, that's good. I mean, I heard the governor's state of the state and the budget, and she's very supportive. There's no question about it. What's available, I mean, it's early. The state budget hasn't been passed for another, month and a half, 2 months. So that's something we'll have to keep on top of and have that discussion with our elected officials and see what shakes the tree and see what falls out.
Okay.
Good. That's a good update, eh?
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
And
Very-
we've kind of got a little longer, and I kind of led you to believe when we started that we'd do this more regularly, but things kind of get away from you. But I appreciate you reaching out and reminding me.
I think we had big dreams when we first started,
Yeah,
and we still do.
We still do.
Yeah, I think with our area needing this so badly, we didn't expect the funding to be this big of a challenge.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we're still working on it and dedicated to doing it. So that's great.
And we'll we'll be meeting more often and kind of moving it up in our priority things to do.
Nicole, do you have anything?
Nope, I think I'm all set. Thank you very much. I agree. I appreciate the updates. You know, I know we have the document to refer to, but just sitting down and being together, you know, even not in person and virtually, and being able to have this dialogue, I think is really beneficial. And it lets people know that we haven't fizzed out and that we fully intend to bring this through to fruition. The best laid out plans take time and consideration, and I think we're doing everything right.
Andy, do you have any questions?
I'm all set, thank you.
Great, thank you. Sam?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Lawrence, is there any other business?
All I would say too, when we're looking at the planning document, especially as you get to the later phases, there may be some things that we can tackle ahead of time that can be dependent on complete funding, that, you know, whether it's trying to find a consultant or somebody that at least we can get them on board and not spend until, you know, we're in a position to do that, but at least get the process going. And that way, you know, the committee and the board maybe can bring somebody on with the idea of, and make that aware in the RFQ that we intend to have somebody here, and then things will begin the process only when we're secure in our funding. It's almost like the 5-year consultant or anything like that, but I think there might be things that you might come up with or whatever that we could knock off ahead of time that may not require full funding or anything, but it puts us in a more positive forward mode and ready to go. And it may, you know, to get to Tony and Nicole's point, put it on a higher priority.
Even something as minor as signage for the Commerce Park, where it's available, advertising that it's going to be there, you know, that sort of thing. So when it's built and it's ready to go, everybody else is aware of it. And I think Tony, you and Nicole, the authority's commitment to get this done, you guys have been right on top of this.
That does lead me to another question, actually. Is ARC, including grant application, the services they're going to be offering children rather than just childcare with the physical therapy and
You mean
speech therapy? And
make them aware of, I think some of it's mentioned in the revised
Yes,
letter.
Additional service offerings.
Yes.
And that might be great to put out to the public too,
Yeah.
so they know that it's not only
This is what we
childcare, it's
intended.
also going to be services for children that need
Sure.
them.
We can talk in detail on that to see how we can make people aware of things other than just plain childcare.
Right,
And I don't mean plain, it's important.
yeah.
Let me take that back.
Childcare plus.
Yes, yes.
They do some kind of testing, don't they?
Yes, because right now for children that are needing screenings to see if they would qualify for
have to go.
services, they have to go out of county. So this would be the only facility in the county that would be able to do the testing. So it would really help
And
our
I think
county and our children
we have
here.
talked about that with ARC, and they said that we'd be a candidate to be able to do that.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
I'm
done.
all set. Nicole doesn't have anything.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Hey, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Meeting ends at 4:58.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Hey.
Thank you.
Two things before the end of the day. Do you want to send-
So,
Do you-